Indeed, Andrew, and that fellow from the Newry Reporter, the hairy fellow growing the fungal and whatever, that's Campbell fellow, Cormac Campbell, he gets very insulting at times. He said I was in a punk, what is that called, a punk band? And he accused you of being in it as well,
yes,
Rowan's Ravens. Yeah, well, Rowan's Ravens will rattle his railings at some stage in the year. I tell you, coming out with stuff like that. Listen, we're putting a happy face on things because I've Jack Murphy with me, Hill Street Trader. I've got Graham Finnegan with me of Grounded. Jack's the jewel man, the man of diamonds and heart of gold and heart of fire. And see how well I remember all of those things of diamonds and daiquiris. I remember that as well. And I love your coffee. It's absolutely superb. I love what you do for me at 6 o'clock every morning when I drop in, having already prepared the news here. I come in and get my coffee to begin the day. And I thank both of you. And if I ever come to need a ring again for anything, Jack, I shall come to you.
Oh, we'll always look after you.
Well, I know. Can you give me a number in some place that I can,
you want me
lonely heart.
You want me to organise a female as well?
Oh, well, now it's the least you could do for me.
Cormac could sort out with the reclassified
recording. I tried that a few years ago, and I never got a single reply over a whole month. And Cormac said, "Look, Rowan, I can work it. We'll give you another month free, providing this time you leave the photograph out." Why are we laughing? You guys are unhappy. The retail park that's out of town, on the boundary of Newry, and you think it's not going to do the centre of town any good at all?
Well, Rowan, hindsight is a wonderful thing, they say, and we've had 40-odd years of hindsight as to what out-of-town developments will do. You've only got to look to America, first of all, where it has wrecked towns and cities in America. It's done the same.
It's the donut effect they talk about.
Of course it is.
Yeah, the hole in the middle, everything in the loop.
Well, do you want a town centre or do you want a town circle? And I mean, it's devastating. I mean, I was at a workshop that was sponsored by some of the departments up in Stormont about a year ago, where they were working on trying to maintain and improve town centres. And there was a guy from Scotland and a guy from London who were leading it. And they were astounded to see how well we had maintained town centres in Northern Ireland. And the guy from Scotland was talking about Scotland. And I mean, I know it for myself. If you drive from Stranraer up to Glasgow and you go through towns that were once very thriving towns as you drove through them, they're now ghost towns.
But we've done it already in our town. We've done it with North Street and Water Street.
Yes.
We've put a motorway through the middle of it. We started to tear the town apart then. But I mean, where has the initiative, where has the imperative for this development come from? I know the council has approved it, but they weren't the instigators. So what are the interests here that brought this to us?
Obviously, a developer sees an opportunity to make money, which money makes the world go round. I mean, it's not that sometimes people think that we in town just want to keep the town the way it is. We don't. We want it to grow, and we want more traders. I mean, one of the things we've been welcoming, and only a couple of weeks ago I was on here talking about how the vacancies had dropped. Cormac, who you just interviewed a couple of minutes ago, had done a survey, and they had dropped from 30 vacant units on Monaghan Street and Hill Street down to 20. And in fact, there's another shop just opened across the street this week. So we're delighted with that, and we want to see things. But I mean, in exactly the same way as we would have liked the Tesco development to have been closer to town, where people who are going to trade come into town, and they help us build a better city
just
centre.
on the Tesco thing, where might Tesco have gone within the town?
Well, there's 70 acres of
North Street sitting there.
North Street,
for goodness sake.
Just take that.
You could lift the box of Tesco and sit it in that space, or almost.
You could, and I mean, what you could do, you could build a multi-storey underground car park that would have facilitated the whole town.
I think the perception, there is this perception that Hill Street traders and Monaghan Street traders have got this pot of money from the customers in Newry, and they don't want to give anybody a slice of it. Now, you know, this isn't shop local. This is a planning issue. And as Jack says, if this new complex had been inside the town, any of the 70 acres that are placed in the city centre, you know, that would have benefited businesses everywhere, you know. And then you could get down to the shop local thing. But you know, it's the perception that we don't want to compete. Now, I would welcome a Starbucks opening up beside us. I think competition's good for the consumer. You know, it's good for the consumer.
If Starbucks opened beside you, you would simply shimmer more than you do at the moment.
Well, I think that's the case, and I think that's the advantages of local and independent businesses. But it's just important that, you know, that Hill Street traders and Monaghan Street traders aren't just merely moaning again. You know, one of our sort of.
You see, you're falling into a trap here, because it's the trap of self-criticism. Although you're saying we're not.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're almost feeling you're on the back leg, but you're not. Because I want the centre of town to remain as a vibrant entity. I think it's very important to go into Jack and be greeted, and go into you and know you and whatever. And you know, there doesn't seem to be joined up thinking, because what you have just said here this morning, Tesco's would have been welcome in one of the town sites available. So but no one's thinking, let us build the centre of Newry. That seems to be a thought that's of a foreign land that's called the past.
Well, Mark H. Durkin, only a couple of months ago, you know, came out with his PR saying that he was backing a policy of town and city centres first. Now, Mark H. Durkin should have been down to the likes of Newry and all the other towns in Northern Ireland saying, how can I help you build a better town centre? What do you need? And we would have been coming back with things like, we need our infrastructure improved, we need our signage improved, we need our car parking improved, we need things done to make it easy to come in to Newry, to move around Newry, to shop in Newry. People say they go to shopping centres because they can park easy.
Yes.
And I can understand that. But why can't we have that facility in the town centre?
But surely Mark
Why can
H.
the planners
Durkin,
not see that?
Surely Mark H. Durkin, who is the man who initiated, who created this policy of town centres first, surely he has been down. When was he last in your shop? Or when was he last having coffee with you? When did he last walk up the street and say hello to Declan? When did he say, I'm glad to be in the Cathedral Quarter? When did he say, I want to go over there and see the Canal Court? When did he say, I love your walkway along the town? When was he last here, Jack?
Well, he's never been in my shop, and I don't think he's been having coffee.
Okay, when has he last been in the town centre? Do we know?
I'm not sure, but I mean, I know.
I don't remember it.
I spoke to Margaret Ritchie last Friday evening to find out what she knew about it. Mark hadn't been in touch with her. I spoke to Michael Carr, who's leader of the SDLP in the area. Same party. No
presumably Carr and Ritchie are supportive of the out-of-town development, because unless there's a split within the SDLP camp.
I don't think, not talking to Margaret Ritchie, I don't think she's in favour of out-of-town development.
So it's not that the SDLP then is supporting it, it's elements within the SDLP are supporting it.
That seems to be the situation.
And through that, Newry and Mourne District Council was supporting, and it's now the new Newry and Mourne and Down.
Well, of course, you've got to realise that Newry, the Newry and Mourne District Council, they took a decision back in 2009. That's 5 years ago. Newry's a different town now than it was, or a different city now than it was 5 years ago.
And you've also got a different council.
Well, of course, that new council doesn't come into.
I know that. It's only 1915. It's 2015. It's coming in.
That's right.
So, is this a window of opportunity for you? Can the town centre people appeal the thing, take another attack at this idea, and blow it out of the water, or is it too late?
That's what we're trying to do, and I mean, there's a planning meeting tomorrow. Is it tomorrow?
Yeah.
That we're going to go along to, and we're hoping that sense will prevail, common sense will prevail, and that the council will look at this and reverse the decision that was taken in 2009. I mean, there's confusion over the reports. The PR that's come out from the developer is making a lot of statements that look and read very well, but they've been contradicted. And even the spokesperson who was on the Nolan show the other morning, also made a number of statements that are not correct.
Well, what the first thing, guys, you have to do is get this onto the agenda of a full council meeting.
Yes.
So that the shadow council, as it now is, will take a vote on it. And that you will then know the people by their fruits. Those who are for it, hands up. Those who are against it, hands up. You will then have a statistic to deal with. Is that a possibility? Do you think you can get that?
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah. I think that's what, on social media in the last few days, I was sort of just commented basically about, how close this decision has been to the election and how close afterwards. And that was one of the things in the doorstep that, obviously you probably didn't feel that you had to ask your new incoming councillors. Did they support us? Because as Deborah said on the Nolan show, on page 41 on the manifesto, it said that we are a town first party, and that's we support town first developments other than out of town. And I think this is one of the most disgusting parts of this whole process, that it is so close after election that everybody has taken a decision upon. And that ballot cast might have been a wee bit different had we known the true state of play when it comes to SLP's.
Has the thing, look at the timing. You said yesterday, if it had been good news, you would have heard about it before the election.
That's right.
All points are returning us to the office of the omniscient, the all-powerful minister.
Yeah.
Now, you're saying it's not Margaret Ritchie who's driving it. You're saying Michael Carr knows nothing about it. You're saying perhaps the SDLP might be shown to be split on it.
Well, I'm not too sure. I mean, I can only tell you the two people that I've spoken to. I spoke to John Feehan last evening. I met him on Hill Street. John didn't side one way or the other, but he was concerned there's nothing that we could do about it. Whereas I said, John, we've got to keep fighting this, because if I was to take that attitude in business, I wouldn't be in business.
They seem to just want you to go away.
Well, yeah, I mean, we get tired fighting, but I mean, if you look at what we've done, I mean, the Key Shopping Centre originally was going to be out at the old carpet factory.
Yes, of course.
And we fought that case and we brought it into town. Now, it has helped the town centre in the same way as the butter crane has helped the town centre. If those two units were out of town, as they originally looked for, it would have been a case that not only would it have divided the town, you would have had two derelict sites that are now thriving.
Thriving, indeed.
And this is where we're coming from. Let's build the town up. It's a community thing. It's given.
I'm right in
It's a
thinking.
community. It's not just this isn't just a business. This isn't just local business people, local business person issue. This is a community sort of. It's to the detriment of your community, your health, your happiness, and everything.
But I want to see. Look, I know what you're saying. Personally, I find it very often very convenient. Whether Tesco's right in the heart of the town or not is immaterial to me at this stage. It's there. The milk has been spilt, if there is spilt milk. But it's very convenient to drop in there. It's also very good to drop into the Keys and the butter crate and that. So there is a kind of an encompassing embrace there. But one, you're telling me that Mark H. Durkin has never set foot in the middle of the town, as far as you know. And secondly, the imperative for this has come from his office. And he has made the statement. And there's been no further emergence of Mark H. Durkin.
Well, he was invited onto the Nolan show and didn't go on. But I mean, as Deborah mentioned on the Nolan show, and we all know, there was applications for 4 developments on the outskirts of Magherafelt. And they were turned down, and quote unquote from Mark H. Durkin, that Magherafelt has got a thriving town centre and he wants to protect it.
Let's say that again. Mark H. Durkin, when confronted with proposals for out-of-town development in Magherafelt,
said that Magherafelt has a thriving town centre and he wants to ensure that town centre is protected.
So my next question to Mark H. Durkin is, Mark H., what is the difference between the situation in Macrofelt and the situation in Newry? We're both thriving, we're building. So why have you come down against Newry Town Centre and for Macrofelt Town Centre? It's a simple enough question.
It is a simple question.
So when will we have the answer to that?
Because in Macrofelt, he's standing by his policy that
and in Newry he's not.
And in Newry he's not.
Certainly, if I had written a policy document which was, town centre first, I certainly would have visited the area and put in an awful lot of in-depth research before I went against it.
We have had, Mark H., we have had ministers of government on this sofa before. Like the BBC, I am extending to you today to come in here to the studio. You sit there, I sit here, and we shoot the breeze on that. And you convince the people of Newry why you are right. We want you to do that. And you're very, very welcome. No anxiety, no war to be declared. Just offering you the opportunity to explain. So we'll see, does he come?
Yeah.
Please take the invitation up.
Can I say, what you've mentioned there, that you find it easy to go into the quays or easy to go into, that is what we want you to be able to do on all parts of this city. We want you to be able to come and shop, and whether it's Monaghan Street or Hill Street or Sugar Island or wherever the case might be, that you can come into town with ease, find your way with good signage, find your way to parking and walk and enjoy our beautiful city. I mean, the lovely thing about the 2 units that we have in town established, the Quays and the Buttercrane, just a little anecdote. There was a chap called into the shop last Saturday, boy that I played football with in Dublin, who happened to be in Newry, didn't realise that he remembered my name. I looked across and thought, could it be? And walked into the shop and spotted the timeline. And by the time Gemma came out to serve him, he said, I know that fella. And left his number. And I was talking to him last night, and he's coming up in a few weeks' time, and we're going to meet up for lunch, etc. But that is someone who had come to shop in one of the shopping centres of Newry and walked through, because I mean, you can walk from Hill Street or Monaghan Street to the Quays in 10 minutes, so easy.
And now the enjoyment of going along Canal Side on the boardwalk.
It's going to be wonderful. And I mean, like, we've lost parking with that unit. We need to upgrade the town, but we need the parking. Now, Mark H. Durkin should be coming down and saying, this is wonderful. What do you need? We need parking. Right, I'll make sure that my department works with Nelson McCausland's department, works with Danny Kenny's department.
He's not even talking to you.
No.
So that's it. Listen, this is going to run and run. Thank you for coming in.
Ron, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Do you notice the way we all got dressed this morning with the facial
facial hair.
I think
facial hair.
Ron's been a trendsetter for some time now that beards.
Well, I've been a trendsetter for 70 years. I had a beard when I came out of my mother's womb. She said, "Oh no, I don't want that. Send it back." So I wasn't sent back. They held on to me. They showed confidence in me. And now...
And we've been living with you ever since.
Oh, sure, now you'll put up with me for a while longer. Thanks for coming. Some music, please.